Today we will be talking about the Nigeria-Taiwan trade relations, and I will be having my guest join me shortly to take a look at that. So sit back, relax, enjoy yourself as I take you on this flight. I don't know if it's 50,000 feet above waters or whatever it is, but we will surely have a good ride today. So let's quickly take the business news. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved 320.3 billion naira in intervention funds for the country's public tertiary education institutions through 2023. Sonny Echeno, who is the Executive Secretary of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED Fund, made the announcement on Wednesday in Abuja during the fund's annual strategic planning workshop with all heads of beneficiary institutions. According to him, the amount approved represents the fund's largest disbursement to each beneficiary institution since its inception. The TED Fund CEO explained that during the 2023 intervention cycle, each university will receive 1 billion naira each, Polytechnic will receive 699 million naira, and each College of Education will receive 800.8 million naira. The federal government has secured $800 million from the World Bank to provide post-petroleum subsidy palliatives for more than 50 million Nigerians ahead of the June 2023 deadline. This was revealed by Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, to State House correspondents on Wednesday, following this week's Federal Executive Council, which was chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. According to Ahmed, the $800 million represents the first tranche of palliatives ready to be disbursed in cash to 10 million households. The Senate on Wednesday indicted Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited for poor record keeping for crude oil deliveries to Warri Refinery and Petrochemical Company and Kaduna Refinery and Petrochemical Company, totaling $376.6 million. The Senate adopted the report of its Public Accounts Committee that focused on Auditor General's report of 2016. The NNPC Limited was queried to have failed to provide details of crude oil deliveries to Warri and Kaduna refineries in the audited year. The Senate has asked Mele Kyari, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPC Limited, to ensure specific details of crude oil delivered to the two refineries for audit. The World Bank has expressed its readiness to collaborate with the National Youth Service Corps on youth empowerment, job creation and skills development for Corps members. According to a statement issued by the NNPC spokesperson Eddie Megwa on Wednesday, Elana Glinkasa, the lead economist of the World Bank Youth Employment and Skills Development Team, revealed this during a courtesy visit to the NYSC National Directorate headquarters in Abuja. General Yasau Ahmed, the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, stated that the scheme was established to promote national unity and integration, noting that NYSC has been at the forefront of empowering Corps members with vocational skills while at the orientation camp, which has made thousands of ex-Corps members self-reliant across the country. According to the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, the NEPC, Nigeria exported a total of 214 products in 2022. Dr. Ezra Yakusak, the NEPC's Executive Director and CEO, disclosed that Nigeria exported that number of products as a result of value addition and good packaging, emphasizing the importance of proper packaging and value addition in optimizing the value of any product. The Commerce and Industry Correspondents Association of Nigeria, in collaboration with the Standard Organization of Nigeria, on Wednesday held an event discussing their collaboration with the government in enhancing the Nigerian economy and making it better and conducive for the citizens. SICAN's chairman Ifeanyi Onuba spoke on the significance of the event for the Nigerian economy, most especially the non-oil sector.
By discharging our duties as journalists, we are assisting in creating an enabling environment for the public and private sector players to appropriately support the economic advancement of our great nation. We must support the non-oil exports to boost the economy in the light of present economic realities. Nigeria must move beyond oil and export of raw materials and build a vibrant manufacturing sector capable of exporting finished goods that could boost the nation's foreign exchange earnings.
Miriam Sampson, who is the Assistant Chief Public Relations Officer of Standard Organization of Nigeria, emphasized that the organization is promoting efficient service delivery.
SON has been working with the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, to ensure efficient service delivery through the promotion of transparent and efficient business environment. The Standards Organization of Nigeria, under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment, is poised to facilitate trade and investment in Nigeria with a view to improving life through standards.
On Wednesday, the meeting on the validation of the final draft report on roadmap and operational framework for the development of halal industry in Nigeria was held in Abuja. According to Dr. Bello Nuhu Dondondaji, the General Secretary, Federation of Agricultural Commodity Association of Nigeria, and also a technical member of the Halal Implementation Committee, analyzed the fact that halal industry worth over $7 trillion globally, and it will in turn boost businesses in Nigeria. Take a listen.
The halal market now stands at about $7.2 trillion worldwide, and there are many countries that have established themselves as halal hubs, and so it is important for us in Nigeria also to learn from their own experiences, to forge alliances, and even to promote our emerging halal industry.
Kaura Irimiya, the Deputy Director of Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment, who represented the Minister of State, Minister of State for Trade and Industry, said that Nigeria has a huge potential to become an ally of the halal industry. Take a listen.
We have a huge potential as a country to be part of the global process of halal. And the global process of halal has a value that is worth over $7 trillion US. And for us as a country, we have all it takes to be part of that process. Halal industry in Nigeria is not an Islamic thing. It's actually wholesomeness of commodities and how quality can be reflected in our products to gain international acceptance. I think that's the basic message.
Could imagine the size of Nigerians' population and the size of businesses that we do in this country. There's a lot. We have over 90 agricultural commodities, and these commodities will have to go through the certifications, and this certification will now give it a buy-in into the certification process of halal. It will have a direct telling on the health status of Nigerians, the business status of Nigeria, especially the practitioners of commodities in Nigeria.
All right, and that's it on the business news. Let's quickly take a break, and when we return, the program continues. Do stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Like they say, don't touch the dial. Stay Moneyline with Nancy on African Independent Television. I did say earlier we will be talking about Nigeria-Taiwan trade relations. At the last count, from what I know, about 22 billion naira has it increased, and what can we learn from each other? What kind of business can we do together? What kind of trade can we do together? My guest will be joining me when we return from the break.
For those newly elected governors and those who were elected, they should know the party is over. The reason why I say the party is over, the political environment we witnessed in the election is indicative of the fact that citizens have actually risen up to demand a higher level of performance from those who govern them. And this will further increase by the time we get to 2027. So you're going to get a point where you really need to show your thumbprints before you can ask for re-election or any political office, where you can go into political oblivion because you performed poorly. So I think the incoming governors should know that the era of coming to the people and just giving them palliatives is now beyond us. So they need to fold their sleeves and get to work.
in sum, we will say that the Central Bank of Nigeria has put in place prudential guidelines, prudential regulations or guidelines that have insulated the Nigerian banking industry from this kind of risk that we see, or contagion that we see or we saw last week in the United States. Nigeria again is one of those countries in the world where even after a bank has declared profit and paid taxes, a certain percentage of its profit must be set aside in order to build retained earnings and capital. If you're a small bank, it's going to be 25%. 1/4 of whatever profit you made is set aside and built into what we call the statutory reserve fund in order to improve the capital of that bank. If you're a big bank, then it is reduced to 15% of your profit after tax that is held back to build your retained earnings and your statutory reserve fund towards ensuring that your capital adequacy ratio remains strong. So I believe we've done well. I think at this time people should now come to realization that there is good reason for putting this in place. And today is a day of reckoning where we are looking at that and say, thank God we have these prudential guidelines that have helped to insulate Nigerian banks from the kind of contagion that we've seen in the United States and Switzerland since last week.
All right, welcome back to the program. In case you're just joining us, my guest is with me here, Andy Yingpin Liu. He's the representative, Taipei Trade Office in Nigeria. Welcome to the program to you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. Just while we were on the break, I was asking how long you have been here.
Yeah.
So say publicly.
Right. Well, thank you for the opportunity to help me to come to this great program. Actually, this is my second time in Nigeria. I've been here for almost 2 years and 6 months. But my first came into Nigeria is 1993 to 1997. Your federal government invite Taiwan to be the strategic partner for developing your first ever export processing zone in Calabar.
Export processing zone in Calabar. Because I know that for Taiwan, it came into Nigeria, I think, in 1991. So you came in 1993.
Yes.
Okay, and you stayed 4 years in Calabar.
Yes, because right after 1991, both sides signed the MOU for establishing the trade mission. Our trade mission established in Lagos, but in 93 we have a consulate in Calabar because we need to cooperate with your Nigerian government for that export processing zone in Calabar. But in late 97, our consulate merged with the trade mission because our trade mission moved with other embassy to Abuja in the early 2000s.
Yes.
So that way we merged. So our office is similar like a de facto embassy together with the consulate and together with the trade mission 3-in-1.
But there was a time that they asked you to move away from Abuja back to Lagos.
Late 2017. Certain reason I will not be able to
I don't even want to go in there.
No,
I don't want to go in there because
let's focus more on
let's stick with trade and business and economy.
Of course.
Okay, so talk to my viewers about Taiwan. Actually, for someone for people that have not been there, of course, when they hear Taiwan, they get to hear different things. You know, when you hear Taiwan, China comes to mind and all of that. But what comes, just talk to us about Taiwan.
Sure. Thank you for that. I'll take that.
I know you tell us the
2 to 3
beautiful
minutes.
things. If
Yes.
you can't tell us also the bad things.
No. I will tell you in a rather neutral way,
Okay.
because I think if everybody had been viewing CNN, BBC, or Al Jazeera, this few days, our president, Madam President, is visiting some of our diplomatic allies in Central America, Guatemala, Belize, but she's now in California, meeting with the top-ranking U.S. Congress, like the Speaker of the House, Mr. McCarthy, and numerous congressmen, because Taiwan relation with the rest of the world would have diplomatic relation and non-diplomatic relation. Most of our best partners are non-diplomatic kind of a country like US, EU, most of the EU member states, Japan, Australia, India. We have no diplomatic relation with not any of them, but we kept a so close strategic partnership with almost everyone. And Taiwan has been regarded as the most trustworthy strategic partner for providing microchip, the most advanced microchip and semiconductor actually produced in Taiwan. The US will buy microchip only from Taiwan because that is the most trustworthy product. Taiwan can cooperate with the US. So we are now having a new trend of the world that the European Union or European country are sending so many delegations to Taiwan. A German minister just visited Taiwan, a huge delegation from Czech Republic and also from Japan, for so many countries coming to Taiwan. So we are in a historical trend, a historical turning point. So it's a good time that, thank you for having me to come here to talk about us. And at the same time, before I came in here, I was sitting outside to watch your news broadcasting. Almost every item you mentioned, we Taiwan participate that, from halal industry. Our office participated the Abuja Halal Expo 2 years ago with a huge Taiwan stand. Though Taiwan does not just manufacturing computers or semiconductor, we have a very advanced halal industry. We cooperate with Indonesia and Malaysia and Turkey and some of the Middle Eastern countries. And talk about NEPC. Our biggest Taiwan trade agency had an MOU with the NEPC just a few years ago. And our biggest trade agency had an MOU with NASIMA, with Abuja Chamber of Commerce. So we are penetrating the market by building institute-to-institute relations so that we can have a better understanding to each other. We don't want to have good Nigerian trading partner to get into our own 419. We have very bad 419 people in Taiwan. But with the institute-to-institute relation, at least we can protect the members of the big institute to give it into something like that. And I have to move back to the focus on economic relations. Our trading in 2021 reached nearly $1 billion US. That's the first time in the history for the last 40 years. 2021. Even during the heaviest influence of COVID. Our trading, mutual trading, jumped up 200%. And Nigeria enjoys such a huge trade surplus. In 2021, it enjoyed at least $240 million US of trade surplus because we require huge raw material like sesame, chestnuts, and quite a lot of oil-related product, and also some of the steel or aluminium we buy in Nigeria. And Nigeria had been importing our product mainly on automobile and car parts or motorcycle, and we have a big tire brand name called Maxxis, MAXXIS, which has set up the market share here quite successfully. So we're trying to get into the Nigerian market with some newly renovated kind of product into here. Last year, 2022, our trading value a little bit lower down to like 700 million. But Nigeria still enjoy a huge trade surplus. So that means we need to work harder to sell more of our product here.
To Nigeria.
To Nigeria.
So you mean that we are having more Nigerian exports to Taiwan?
To Taiwan, yeah.
And apart from sesame, because you mentioned sesame, apart from sesame, what else do we export?
Chestnut, those are agricultural products.
Okay, agricultural
those are
products.
quite raw material one, because we have a huge food industry. We need to have more groundnut or sesame to grind into kind of home cooking oil. And actually, Taiwan is probably still the best model of non-oil economy to Nigeria, because Taiwan has no natural resources at all. So we envy Nigeria so much. You have everything. We don't have nothing.
No, but you can't say you don't have nothing, because you still export. You mentioned chips earlier, which
microchip.
Okay. Now let me come to this now, because you're saying we do export agricultural products to Nigeria, and they're in their raw form.
Raw form, but if you want a good
semi-processed
form. Yes, in good quality.
Yes, but what does Taiwan export to Nigeria? Tires?
Mainly
electrical
automobile and motorcycle parts. And some company here, they import our part together with some other part from the world and then do assembly line. And one of the motorcycle assembly line called Q-Link is actually our Taiwanese brand here. And we have a car tire company called Maxis, which has already penetrating into Nigeria market. Quality the same as Michelin or with Dunlop. So Nigerians are really getting addicted to our product more.
Okay, where I was coming to is, and I want us to balance it out.
Sure.
Nigeria, we export raw agricultural produce,
and oil-related products.
Yes, oil-related, almost semi-processed or raw. But you bring in almost the finished goods into Nigeria.
Nearly finished.
So if you take a look at the cost, aren't you gaining in terms of the amount?
Yes.
So to speak, because the amount getting in electrical products or even metals or whatever, the machinery, it's more than the raw products, as it were, in terms of prices.
Yes. So for us, we Taiwan grow from the most backward, the most poverty country we can have after Second World War. So from 1960, we start out with something that we import raw material, we process it, and we export with value-add product.
Exactly.
So we earn the hard money.
That's actually where I'm going to. So to say that, okay, we're surplus, but your product into Nigeria is more value-added. Because when
luckily.
and I guess that's a lesson too for Nigeria, which we've been talking about, because we export raw products. We don't get as much money as we should get, but if we process it or we add value to it, then we get more money. But that's not your problem, though.
But I need to come into your federal government, because your Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment approached us about 2.5 years ago. They want to renew a very important agreement called Protection of Mutual Investment. We had that signed in 1994. So we need to renew it. But your federal ministry approached us actively, said that, okay, your ministry had already done with Morocco and Singapore. So in Asia, they target South Korea and Taiwan. They want to make it a new face for Nigeria to attract foreign investors to come in to set up factory or set up assembly line, so that they can utilize the raw material of Nigeria locally and put into more like a value-added product and export. So we are now waiting patiently for that drop of the mutual protection of mutual investment with Nigeria and Taiwan to be signed quickly, so that Nigeria and Taiwan can move into attracting mutual investment into each other. Maybe you can export more raw material to Taiwan, or maybe we can have investors coming in. Actually, one of our biggest Taiwanese trader in Nigeria had already set up a very, very well-constructed industrial zone, somewhere between, I think, Ogun and Osun State. They are trying to attract Taiwanese investors, but we need to have that kind of agreement in between Nigeria and Taiwanese government to be signed, so that it will have confidence and safety for our investors to come in.
What will that Taiwanese investor be focused on?
Focus on having different type of assembly line or manufacturer, either from Taiwan or from Asia. So the name is called the Asian Industrial Zone. So actually our Taiwanese investment first, they will need to attract people, because that industrial zone will have a non-stop power supply based on liquefied natural gas. It's one of the best energy that Nigeria can provide. So we can talk about it for 3 days, but not for today. Not today. So
because those are the kind of things I'm really interested in terms of seeing perhaps the workability and all of it. But where are you right now in terms of that? Do you have any idea as to when that will be signed?
Probably we're urging the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment try to finish all the consultation among your different federal ministry and make it happen probably in later half of this year. After being signed, then your government can send a delegation to Taiwan and we can start an annual consultation between Nigeria and Taiwan for all aspects, agriculture, vocational training, information technology, and also about electrical cars. That is one of your government target, and also about solar energy. These are the sphere that Taiwan can actually participate of your great national development.
You mentioned earlier that Taiwan you have nothing.
Well, nothing.
You have nothing. So
we only have human brain.
You only have human brain. Then how have you been able to make it work?
Because
you don't have oil.
Yeah.
So
our government made a decision in late 1950, 1960, free education for all children, from grade 1 to grade 9.
Free education.
Free education
for all children.
All children.
Who pays for it? The federal government?
Yeah.
Or do you have provinces and do you have
we have now fading away the provincial. We have central and then we have municipality.
Okay, that's federal and local governments.
Yes.
That's municipalities.
That will be easier. We don't want to waste money in too many hierarchical terms. And then free education for all children from grade 1 to grade 9, because we have no natural resources, so we need to invest hugely in education, bringing up all the people and cutting down the illiteracy so that all our industry, all our business can hire manpower with sufficient education all the way to grade 9. After grade 9, you can choose either you want to go for senior high school or go for vocational training. And then after that, you can go for university or go for applied science university. So it's more like encouraging the base to be as large as possible so that we can build up the human resources stage by stage and then step by step. So we develop from agriculture and then light industry, heavy industry. Every 10 years, roughly, we transform ourselves. And in 1990, we transformed ourselves into information technology. That's how the core technology of nanotechnology, microchip being established in Taiwan. We're lucky that we choose the right path. So now our microchip and our semiconductor have become the world #1 brand. We have surpassed the Korean Samsung and all others. We have become the #1 trading partner, strategic partner for the US, for the European country, for Japan.
Especially, was it last year there was this issue about semiconductors and all of that?
Right. So we have been through 30 to 40 years of struggling from poor to modernize ourselves to become what we have today.
So would you categorize yourself as a modern economy?
Sorry?
Would you categorize yourself as a modern economy?
Yeah.
And secondly, when you talked about free education from grade 1 to grade 9, and after that, they can make their choice.
Yes.
Where do your citizens really gravitate towards? Do they gravitate more to the education, the formal education, or do they gravitate more to the vocational? Do they say, okay, fine, we want to go to the university?
That's a great question.
Yes, because
that's a great question. From the 1960, 1970, all the way to 1980, parents grew up in a poor time. They want their children to get proper education so that they can get a good job and earn more money. But in 1970 to 1980, quite so many of our university graduate students went to US for higher degree study. Like my elder brother, he went to US to get his doctorate degree, and he stayed in the US for some time. But in 1990 to the early 2000, so many of our graduates who had good job in the US came back to Taiwan because they have seen Taiwan economic development have moved from the heavy industry, heavy polluting industry into information technology. Information that means computer, smartphone or satellite or solar energy, even clean energy. So they come back to set up their own kind of either company. So our diaspora, we experienced brain drain, heavy brain drain to the U.S., but luckily we got them back later, gradually. So they established their company and well connected to U.S., well connected to Europe, and to Japan also. So this is what we have experienced.
So what do you think we can learn from you? Or what have been the exchange of ideas been like with the Nigerian government?
Yes, so from my own experience, this time I came in about 2.5 years now. The more I visit Abuja, because our office is located in Lagos, the more I visit Abuja, the more I experience the exchange idea with your senior member in the National Assembly, from the Senate or the House of Rep, and from your government ministry. We found out that Nigerians are so much eager, want to move into either non-oil economy and put into efforts on education, but at the same time you need to know what to do that you can get certain kind of reference from Taiwan. So what we can provide as a non-oil economy based on what we experience, small and medium enterprises need to be encouraged. Nigeria is a free economy, the same with us. So you need to encourage more people to get proper vocational training and into factory, into assembly line, and all kind of a trading agency can do import and export. But at the same time, you need to attract investors to come into Taiwan. This is our strategy, attracting investors to come into Taiwan. So that's why our export processing zone have been in Taiwan for almost 4 decades. They transformed themselves into science-based industrial zone.
Science-based?
Science-based, that means information technology, any technology, high technology. We are fading our own kind of labor-intensive industry, move them out to China or to somewhere else, but we try to keep the core technology in Taiwan so that we can generate the profit in Taiwan by exporting high value added.
So it's more soft industrialization you're going for?
Yes, in a way.
Not labor intensive?
Not labor intensive, but we've been through the labor intensive.
Okay, you had that,
yes.
So now you are transiting or taking that, let the labor go to China and
but we still keep a large percentage of agriculture, but we move them into more technology kind of concentrated, more AI, more other technology to help the farmer. You don't need to put too much manpower, but you can get a high value added out of some sophisticated kind of like orchid. Taiwan is the second largest exporter of orchid, second to the Netherlands only. Beautiful orchid. I think ladies always love orchid. We have the best orchid. This is just a small example that I can tell, because Nigeria, you have enjoyed such abundant natural resources, from agriculture to mining to all kind of things. All you need to do is just to have sit down, have a good planning, and set up the goal step by step every 3 to 4 years, to 4 to 5 years, and try to see whether the rest of the world can give you some more reference. Taiwan is not the only good reference, though. You can learn from so many people.
Okay, let's talk about, you did mention earlier $1 billion as of 2021.
21, yes.
Do you have an updated figure to that? Do you have 2022's figure in terms of Nigeria-Taiwan trade?
Okay, if I remember correctly, our export to Nigeria in that year was about $150 million US. But Nigeria export to Taiwan more than 640 million in that year. That's a 250% jump from the 2020. Because in 2020 only about like 200 million, but in that year 2021 jump up almost 200% to almost reaching 1 billion. Well, I cannot give you the right figure for which of the product that export to Taiwan for how much percentage, but I think half, raw material of agriculture and other like oil related product, and some aluminium, rough first stage of aluminium, and also iron and steel. But I will provide you with some more reference from my economic section in our office later.
Okay, let's go back to the semiconductors, because I'm a bit interested in that. Like I mentioned earlier, we saw the semiconductor market, the demand slumped, I think, was it last year or so, and I also know that it impacted Taiwan. What measures perhaps did your government put together to help resuscitate that? I also do know that you have a central bank, Taiwan Central Bank or so, and I think they tightened rates or so, I can't remember now. But I'm just trying to ask you perhaps what measures.
Okay. For that kind of promoting.
Exactly.
Yeah, if I can take an example of how Nigeria and Taiwan have built out that kind of relationship, because in the past 2 to 3 years, 2 major steps have been taken by the Nigerian side, by your Nigerian Export-Import Bank with our Exim Bank has signed an MOU to provide $5 million of trade guarantee loan to traders. And then from your Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation,
NDIC,
and with our central deposit insurance, signed an MOU in 2019. These 2 building blocks that lead to now the Charter Institute of the Bankers of Nigeria is moving forward to have our cooperation with Taiwan. This building block walk along side by side with the NASIMA and our trading agency, with Chamber of Commerce here and there, with our trading agency come along. So financial facilitation together with the actual trading promotion, that APC also signed the MOU with our trading agency. So you can see all those building blocks follow the principle laid by the World Trade Organization. And we follow that carefully because Nigeria and Taiwan are equal members of the WTO. That's why we support Madame Okonjo-Iweala very strongly.
Yes.
Our delegation in Geneva worked closely with the Nigerian delegation. Actually, Nigerian trade negotiator was the one making decision that Taiwan joined the WTO. So you can see the actual working relation has always been there. So 30, 40 years with Nigeria. We are close friends, but we want to be low profile so that practical measure can be done without touching any unnecessary political sensitiveness. You have tell us about, so that's why I want to present you a small, Taiwan is a success story. And our president, Madam President, she's now in California meeting with so many the American politicians. And this is how the world supporting Taiwan. Yep, just a small. If you cannot sleep at night, we'll help you.
Thank you very much. Taiwan is success story and a force for good.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Bring me something to read.
Take your time.
Yes, I will take my time. I'll take my time to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
But just before we go, I think this should be a last question. Is there like a financial, do you have, can you give me a sense of perhaps any financial obligation that has come in as a result of this relationship? Perhaps signing of these MOUs or those that you work with. Has Taiwan committed any amounts?
Not yet for the moment, because we need to base on very factual and very actual target, like Exim Bank. They want to promote in trade. And for financial institutions like deposit insurance, and then we'll see how the bankers can actually come up together with under the CIBN, so that we can work out a much bigger kind of mutual agreement in the future. But it all depends on your federal government.
Okay, yes. Just before you go again, I know I've said this will be my last question, but I also know wind power is a major industry in Taiwan. Wind
power. Yeah, we have a huge wind turbine established by the European company, also Australian. You mean the wind turbine,
yes.
Right? Because our nuclear power energy are fading away. They're getting old. And my government decided we need to have more clean energy, so we import more natural gas from Australia so that we can run on thermal power, not on nuclear anymore. We want to fade away the coal burning one. Our hydraulic might have problem because Taiwan have mountains too much. We cannot keep the reservoir well. They have asked very crucial question. We are still worried about that. we need to fill the gap after our nuclear energy fade away.
Do we see many Nigerian business people going to Taiwan?
Yes, quite a lot.
Quite a lot.
Actually,
what do they go there to do?
The most recent case is about 2 weeks ago. Governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, led the delegation to Taiwan, together with the delegation from Kaduna State. And we've been approached by the Plateau State government. They want to establish state to state, but actually the state government will have an interaction with our central government. That means these interaction will come by the state government, but we need to have them to urge your federal government to have more structural agreement with Taiwan to protect the mutual investment, to protect and to promote trading in the near future. So we have seen the joint effort from your state to your federal working hand in hand with us. Forget about the political sensitivity. Everybody talk about how to make money.
Exactly. So, that's what makes the world go round.
Yeah, because China is still our #1 trading market.
Yes.
So we make money together. Forget about making war. We don't want to make
Even
war.
in war, people make money.
Yes, but we don't want to make that kind of money.
Yes, exactly. All right. Just before we go, you've been in Nigeria now for the past 2 years. You were in Nigeria. You told me 9 months after you got married, you came to Calabar.
Yeah.
How Nigerian are you? What food do you love?
#1, fish pepper soup.
Okay, thank goodness I'm not hearing jollof rice again.
Yeah. Well, fish pepper soup, but only catfish. Catfish is the most delicious.
Okay.
And then my wife's favorite is spicy snail.
Spicy snail.
And we have a colleague here who's an expert on moi moi.
I can see him here.
We've been cooking puff in my house.
Oh.
Having jollof rice, and we never argue with any people from Ghana about which one had the best
jollof rice. Because if you do, you get into trouble.
So we know Nigerian and we want to have more chances to promote a better relation between Nigeria and Taiwan. Yep.
I want to say thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. I've been speaking with Andy Yingping Liu. He is the representative Taipei Trade Office in Nigeria. Thank you for this. Thank you for this again. Okay, can we see that? Taiwan, a success story and a force of good. Thank you. Thank you very much. And that's the much we can take on today's edition of Moneyline with Nancy on African Independent Television. Best it can be. But the change that you want to see, I am Nancy Naji. Bye now.